When Ashley Young failed to meet up with her mother on the 29th of November 2018, Kristine Young immediately knew that something was wrong and that her daughter was most likely in danger. Kristine called 911 and reported her daughter missing, but a few days later, the most horrifying discovery was made. A man called the police to let them know he had found a bloody tarp down in the basement of his apartment block. When police arrived at the scene and pulled back the tarp, they found a female torso with no arms, no legs, or no head.
Police on the search warrant! Come to the door! We're gonna go out, wrap into that basement. It's going down to that basement. That's where the body's at, wrapped in the tarp. Okay, the tarp is laying on the stairs, about the last 3 stairs.
The police searched further around the basement and found 2 fired casings located inside the furnace duct. This furnace duct led from the basement furnace to an apartment, and this apartment belonged to a man called Jared Chance, a friend of Ashley Young.
What's your name? What's your last name? Jared Chance? He's not been searched.
He is not?
No.
Could this torso they had found belong to missing Ashley Young, and had Jared Chance brutally murdered and then mutilated his own friend?
This is what's left of my daughter. If I want a hug, I have to hug a box and close my eyes. You had no right to take her from me.
This is the tragic murder of Ashley Young. Ashley Regina Marie Young was born on the 14th of January 1987 to her parents Kristine Young and her father Ambrose, but the pair separated when Ashley was young. Ashley was the only daughter of her mother Kristine, who had been told at the age of 18 that she wouldn't ever be able to have children. So when Kristine fell pregnant with Ashley, Kristine felt extremely blessed, and Ashley and her mother developed a very close and loving bond, and were not only mother and daughter, but best of friends. Loved ones said that Ashley was a ray of sunshine and a positive force in their lives. She was known to be very generous and lovable, and she was someone who always saw the best and good in everyone. She believes that you couldn't simply dismiss those who had made mistakes in the past, and that everyone deserved a second chance. When Ashley was 31 years old, she lived in Kalamazoo in Michigan, where she attended a local community college, alongside working in a call center for a bank. Previously, Ashley had worked in a care home for those with special needs. She was always giving and helping others, and was known to be very generous and caring, especially to her friends and family. One friend she cared for was 30-year-old Jared Chance, who lived in nearby Grand Rapids. Jared Chance was born in 1989 and was the older child of 2, with a younger brother called Conrad. Jared grew up in Holland in Michigan, about an hour's drive from Kalamazoo and 35 minutes from Grand Rapids. Jared's father, James, was a retired police officer, and his mother was called Barbara. Jared Chance had a bad criminal record, and since a young age he had been in trouble with the law. It was said that between 2006 and 2016, in the space of 10 years, Jared had 38 run-ins with the police. He had a history of shoplifting and underage drinking, as well as multiple traffic violations, and had owned prohibited narcotics. In 2010, there was an incident where he was arrested for breaking into an ex-girlfriend's house via the doggy door, but no charges were filed. A year later, in 2011, Jared's parents called the police on him after he was in a drunken rage and he destroyed the house. The police responded to the house twice that night, and on the second visit, Jared hit the responding officer. A few years later, in 2015, he was arrested for a drug-related charge, and a year later, in 2016, Jared's brother Conrad called the police after Jared threatened to put a blowtorch down his throat. That same year, Jared was hospitalized after being found unresponsive in the family's backyard after an OD. Only 4 days later, he was hospitalized yet again after another OD. Jared was described as crazy and prone to violent outbursts by many who knew him, and many of Ashley's friends warned her of her friendship with him and told her to be careful. In 2013, Ashley decided to distance herself from Jared after he broke into her house and stole and sold all of her things. But a few years later in 2017, forgiving Ashley reconnected with Jared and she gave him another chance. Around this time, Jared had moved out of his parents' house in Holland, Michigan, and had gone to live in Grand Rapids, about a 35-minute drive from where Ashley lived in Kalamazoo. As Ashley and Jared rekindled their friendship, Jared opened up to Ashley, telling her that he couldn't catch a break. In 2018, Jared ended up driving his car into a ditch whilst intoxicated, and rather than call his parents, he called Ashley. Seeing that her friend was in need, Ashley sympathized and decided to go and visit Jared on the 28th of November 2018 to try and be there for her friend. But sadly, however, after her visit to Grand Rapids to see Jared Chance, Ashley Young would never be seen again. The next day, on the 29th of November 2018, Ashley Young had plans to meet up with her mother, Kristine Young, so that she could co-sign a lease for her daughter. But strangely, Ashley never showed up that day. When Kristine tried to contact her daughter, she couldn't get through to her, so she kept trying, but she still got no response. Kristine knew that this was strange, as Ashley always responded to her, so she started to panic. Kristine knew that Ashley had been to see one of her friends recently, Jared Chance, but as Kristine had never met Jared before, she contacted a friend of Ashley's to get his contact information. Kristine then called Jared multiple times, but he did not answer her either, so Kristine sent him a text saying, "Hello Jared, my name is Kristine Young. I am looking for my daughter. She was last with you. Is she with you? She needs to contact me. Tell her I'm going to contact the police to do a missing person." Finally, Jared responded to Kristine, and he told her that the night Ashley visited him, they had gone to a hookah lounge and then to a place called Mulligan's Pub. He also told Kristine that Ashley had lost her phone at the hookah lounge and had gone to pick it up the following day on her way to work, saying she was working the third shift. This comment about the third shift was very confusing to Kristine because Kristine knew her daughter's work schedule and Ashley was not due to be working that day. Jared then told Kristine that Ashley had met up with a man called Demetrius Taylor, and Jared then gave Kristine several phone numbers that he said belonged to Demetrius. Kristine then tried to use these numbers, but none of them were working numbers. When she finally managed to get into contact with Demetrius Taylor, Demetrius denied having seen Ashley or even knowing her. By this point, Kristine was incredibly confused and panicked, so she tried to reach Jared again to ask him what he was playing at. But by this point, Jared had stopped replying to her, so Kristine contacted the police. Kristine was also an incredible mother, so she started her own investigation to try and find her daughter. Kristine went to Mulligan's Pub and asked the owner to see the surveillance footage from that night, and indeed it did show a glimpse of Ashley. A few days later, on the 2nd of December, a man called Mario Nelson also contacted the police to let them know that he had gone to the basement of his apartment building to investigate a sewage-like smell that was coming from it, and that when he got to the basement, he discovered a tarp with something he thought was blood on it. Another source elsewhere mentioned that Mario otherwise may have gone to check the basement after a friend of Ashley's started looking in the trash outside and came across a saw blade.
Once I come back up to the stairs, there's a tarp laying there, and it's like just a stream of blood out of it.
What do you do when you see a tarp with a stream of blood?
Run upstairs, I have my girlfriend call the cops.
When the police department arrived at the property, they entered the basement and they found the tarp that Mario Nelson had reported.
She's not missing, let's be clear about that. That's what the lady. Yes, I know. It sounds like there's a lot of drama going on, so we don't want to jump to the conclusions. We just want to make sure it's... Right. Yes. If you want. The mom is looking for her because she is willingly hanging out. She should be hanging out with me. So, where are we going? Sure, basement?
Beneath the tarp was a female torso, and the arms, legs, and head had been removed. They also found 439 unfired .22 caliber cartridges and 2 fired casings located inside the furnace duct that led from the basement furnace to an apartment, and this apartment belonged to none other than Jared Chance. After this disturbing discovery, the police searched further inside the basement and the surrounding area of the apartment block. Here they recovered a saw blade, as well as finding a black trash can and a mop located on the back porch of Jared's apartment. Inside the trash can they found 2 additional saw blades, a boot, a bathtub drain cover, additional trash bags, a plastic bottle of ammonia, latex gloves, a pair of navy blue pants bearing Jared's name, and a roll of plastic wrap. Several of these items from the trash were tested and they came back positive for human blood. On the landing of the stairwell leading up to Jared's apartment, they found a pair of women's black boots, a fan box, a purple tote bag, and a cardboard box. The cardboard box had Ashley's name and address on it, and inside it, they found a plastic bag containing 2 human female legs without feet and 2 human female arms without hands. Inside the purple tote bag was a pair of shoes, a prescription medication bottle, and some plastic shower curtain rings. Inside the fan box was duct tape and a black plastic trash bag containing stained bedding and women's clothing. The clothing tested positive for Ashley's DNA, as well as the DNA of 2 unknown individuals. Several bloodstained items, including a saw blade and a tile from Jared's apartment, also tested positive for Ashley's DNA. Inside Jared's apartment, the trap of the kitchen sink also tested positive for human blood and contained a small piece of what looked like human tissue. The washing machine also tested positive for human blood, as well as a black hoodie and a bath mat. 3 more shower curtain rings were also recovered from the building's backyard, and these matched the shower curtain rings from Jared's apartment. With all the evidence, police immediately had to find out what had happened at this property, so they pressed Mario Nelson, the man who had found the bloody tarp, and called them for answers. Mario told police that sometime between the 29th of November and the 1st of December, Jared Chance had asked him to gain access to Ashley's car, which had been parked in the driveway of their home. Police knew that this meant Ashley's car must be nearby, and they did indeed find it, parked a few blocks away from the apartment block. The investigation then led police to Holland, where Jared's parents lived. When police searched Barbara and James Chance's house, they discovered a shower curtain in the garage. They assumed this was the shower curtain missing from Jared's apartment, as none was present. Police also found a black and red skill saw underneath the couch in the living room and a washcloth in the basement that both tested positive for human blood. In the trunk of Jared's parents' car, police found an empty bottle of ammonia bearing a label from Miss Tracy's party store and an empty box of blue latex gloves. This store was located near Jared's apartment in Grand Rapids. With this new lead, they went to Miss Tracy's party store and they managed to get video surveillance, which showed Jared making several purchases from inside. The footage was dated between the 29th of November and the 1st of December, and it showed Jared purchasing items such as ammonia and trash bags. They also managed to get footage from another angle from in front of the store, and this showed Jared putting an orange bag into the trash. Police immediately went and searched the dumpsters located at Miss Tracy's party store, and they recovered this orange bag. Inside, they found more clothing, prescription medicine bottles bearing Ashley's name, and a purse containing Ashley's driving license and school identification. They also found a stain on the pair of jeans that tested positive for human blood. With this overwhelming evidence, Jared Chance was immediately arrested and charged with mutilation of a dead body and concealing a death.
Come on down. Hands on top of your head. We're gonna call him right into that kitchen. Hands up your head!
What's your name? What's your last name? Your Chance? He's not been searched.
He is not?
No.
Run quick, feet. Putting the seatbelt around you, right?
You put the seatbelt on when you get it back there, that's fine.
Alright.
With all the evidence and surveillance footage they had found, the police managed to put together a timeline of what they believe had happened. On Wednesday, the 28th of November, Ashley headed to Grand Rapids to visit her friend Jared. Jared lived alone in the upper floor apartment of a 2-story house, whilst Mario Nelson lived in the first floor apartment downstairs. When Ashley arrived that day, Mario greeted her, and the three of them hung out in Jared's apartment while Mario and Jared could smoke. Later that evening, Jared and Ashley went to a hookah lounge and were then seen together at Mulligan's pub. From there, they went back to the hookah lounge, and then CCTV footage saw Ashley at a liquor store about 3 minutes from Jared's apartment at 1:30 a.m. in the early hours of the 29th of November, and this would be the last known sighting of her. Forensic pathologist Dr. David Start conducted a partial autopsy, inspecting Ashley's torso, arms and legs, as sadly her hands, feet and head and neck were never recovered. Due to the state of Ashley's body and with the missing body parts, Dr. Start was not able to identify a specific cause of death. However, by process of elimination, he was able to predict that the cause of death would have been related to the unrecovered head and neck. Therefore, Dr. Start suggested that Ashley could have died from blunt force trauma or a gunshot wound to the head. Dr. Start also stated that a reciprocating saw or something similar could have been used to cut through the bone and create the sharp edges on the body parts that he was able to inspect. He further stated that a utility knife could have been used to cut through skin, tissue and fat. With Dr. Start's theory, police believed that Jared's Chance had shot Ashley in the head in the early hours of the 29th of November. 12 hours later, Jared's Chance began dismembering her body in his apartment and then attempted to clean up the crime scene and to hide her body in the tarp in the basement. On the 1st of December, Jared then called his parents and asked them for a ride to their home in Holland for the weekend, and they showed up within an hour. Jared then proceeded to put boxes containing body parts, a fan box containing Ashley's shoes, a saw, a mop and a bucket into his parents' car. Based on cell phone records, the whole family, including their son Conrad, then stopped at an apartment complex where Jared could have discarded the rest of Ashley's body parts. They also stopped at Costco, where a gun could have also been thrown away. The next day, on the 2nd of December, the day which Ashley's torso was found, Jared confessed to his parents in their kitchen that he had killed and mutilated Ashley Young. Jared's father James then took his son to Grand Rapids Police Department, telling the person at the desk that they might have information on missing Ashley Young. Apparently, according to James and Jared, they said the police refused to speak to them and they were instructed to take the information back to Kalamazoo, where Ashley lived and was reported missing. However, the police later contradicted this, saying that the police did try to speak with them that day, but James demanded an attorney for his son and they were therefore unable to talk to them. James therefore then dropped Jared off at his home, and later that night, Jared's Chance was arrested after he had gone to bed.
Please cover anybody in the section. Come on, make yourself known. Come up to the stairwell right now. Right there. Put your hands up. Hands up.
You need to wait just for a sec? We'll get your cuffs off, okay? Alright.
Want me to take them off the cuffs? Or
Yeah, you gonna be decent with us?
yeah.
Okay. Alright. Hold on. Hey, Erica. We'll be right with you.
You want me to stay in here?
Can you just stay in here 1 minute while I
Yeah,
get this one?
go ahead.
You gotta stay busy, don't you?
Huh?
You gotta stay busy, don't you?
Pretty much.
Hi, Jared. We appreciate the fact that you came in earlier, and I'm sorry you got turned away.
Yeah, no, I just came in just because I read on Facebook that the last person this person was with was me, so I was just concerned and trying to get some information about it, but my dad just recommended me to just ask for the advice of an attorney, and because I don't really know what the hell's going on, so I don't want to sit here and talk about shit that may incriminate me or whatever in any kind of way, because I don't know what's going on. So I just don't want to say nothing right now.
Let me hear and see. No other piercings anywhere? No. Alright, come on up here, sir. Right in the mouth. Right over here. Slow. And these screw in and they pull out. Come on over here.
A week later, on the 12th of December, both of Jared's parents, James Chance and Barbara Chance, were also charged with perjury and accessory after the fact, as it was believed that they knew their son had murdered and dismembered Ashley, and that potentially both of them had helped Jared hide items pertaining to the murder.
My daughter is gone and he took her. He has no right to breathe. He has no right to continue to live. There should be the death penalty. Laws have to be changed. Things have to change. These people should not be allowed to just kill and keep going. They should all be dead.
A month after initially being charged with mutilation of a body and concealing a death, Jared Chance was charged with murder. He was initially offered a plea deal of a minimum of 30 years if he made a full confession and told Ashley's family where the rest of her remains were. He also had to plead guilty to second-degree murder, tampering with evidence, and concealing a death. But despite the overwhelming evidence against him, Jared Chance refused this plea deal and decided to put Ashley's family through the pain and suffering of a trial.
Sir, I'm assuming you have discussed this at length with your attorney, is that correct? You have three options right now. You can tell me you want to enter a plea, you can tell me you want to go to trial, or you can tell me you want to talk for a few more minutes with your attorney. What would you like to do? I'd like to go to trial. All right, we'll do that. Let's get the jury up here.
Thank you.
And so, Jared Chance's trial started in September of 2019. During the trial, the prosecution brought up many witnesses and they testified against Jared. An employee of Mulligan's pub testified to seeing Ashley and another man at the pub on the night of the 28th of November. Demetrius Taylor testified that Jared Chance had told him to tell Kristine that Ashley had come by his house to use his phone and then left. Demetrius Taylor further testified that after Jared Chance learned that he had told Kristine that he did not know Ashley, Jared sent Taylor several text messages, including one saying, "You're stupid, bro. You just screwed me. Bro, delete all these messages." Mario Nelson also testified at trial, saying that he had known Jared to be in possession of a gun, and that Jared had spun the gun around on the table during a visit, which had made him uncomfortable. Mario Nelson also said that Jared had once bragged to him that he knew how to get rid of a body, because, as he said, his dad used to be in the Irish mob. Mario Nelson also testified that Jared had asked him to help him unlock Ashley's car, claiming that Ashley had locked her keys in the car. Jared's own brother, Conrad, also testified to a previous incident at his apartment. According to Conrad, Jared had gone to another room to get a gun, had come back, pointed the gun at Conrad's head, and pulled the trigger more than once, without first checking to see if the gun was loaded.
Did you and your dad help your brother load some things into the hug?
Yes.
Did that box get loaded into the back of the hug?
Yes.
After that,
We drove around and we're looking. We went to Ashley's car where we moved the stuff that we put in the Honda back into the landing area of the stairs that lead up to his apartment.
Despite this substantial evidence, Jared's defense claimed that no one knew how Ashley had died, and therefore they could not prove that Jared was the murderer. They also said that there seemed to be no motive, so why would Jared kill his friend? However, this did not persuade the jurors that he was innocent, and thankfully, after a week-long trial, a jury convicted Jared Chance of second-degree murder, mutilation of a dead body, concealing a death, and tampering with evidence. Before Jared Chance's sentencing, the judge allowed Ashley's friends and family to address him directly. Ashley's mother, Kristine Young, wore a t-shirt with the words "Mum of Angel Ashley," and through a heart-wrenching, emotional statement, she directed her anger directly at Jared Chance for more than 10 minutes. She told him how he had stolen from her and how she hated him.
I cry 7 days a week. 7! Most days is to and from work. I do not sleep well. My mind never stops. Never! I just keep going back to that last conversation that I had with Ashley. Why didn't I ask where she was going? Why didn't I ask who she was going to be with, like I normally do? Maybe I could have stopped her from going to see you. Ashley, I miss you every moment of every day. When I was 18, I was told I would never have children by a doctor. I thank God he gave me the gift of Ashley, even though it was for a very short period of time. God gave me that gift. You had no right to take her from me, to take her from her family. Jared Chance, I hate you. I want to rip you limb from limb and discard you like trash, like what you did to Ashley. You do not deserve to breathe. Ashley was your friend, right? She was your friend. You chose to execute her. You chose to dismember her. You chose to scatter her remains. You chose to do all of this. This is what's left of my daughter. If I want a hug, I have to hug a box and close my eyes and pretend that she is hugging me back because you chose to murder her, because you chose to dismember her. I am left with nothing but voicemails and videos that I play over and over just to hear her voice, just to hear her laugh. You texted me, Ashley and I are both good people. This is why we get along and like each other. Do you remember texting me that? Do you remember texting me? I would never, never do anything to hurt her. I swear on my life. Ashley is my ride and die. Do you remember that? Do you? Ashley was already dead and dismembered when you text that to me. You threw her out like trash. And she was your friend.
Ashley's father, Ambrose, said he remembered his daughter as someone who was very easygoing. Whilst he addressed Jared Chance, he pointed to all of Ashley's friends in the courtroom who loved her like a family and said,
"You see all these people here? They show up every day. Every day I go out there and I hear them. They're saying, oh, I'm arranging babysitters, I'm arranging dinner, I'm arranging people to come to school. All Ashley's friends. All Ashley's friends. Here to back her up. Every one of them. All good people that I met down here. I meet these ladies here, I know these two ladies, and all you guys have done a great job. I think there are 200 or 305 hours of overtime that people put into this case to bring it forward. The great people like this man here, the prosecutor, and all these great people that brought a tug like you to here. And that's what you are, was a tug.
Ashley's stepbrother, Adrian Nelson, struggled for words as he tried to express the pain Jared had caused to his whole family.
I shared a room with her since I was 3 years old, until she moved out. I don't understand how anyone could do what you have done. No man can do that, I'm sorry. I don't understand it whatsoever. And then you can sit in your house and be there knowing what you have done and not do anything about it.
Ashley's stepmother, Dana Nelson, also wore a t-shirt whilst addressing Jared that said, "Stepmom of Angel Ashley." She said,
That anyone wants to hear. There was nothing I could do to comfort or console or take away or fix it for her. Nothing. From that first night that Ashley went missing, my life has never and has been forever changed. I have been waiting for this nightmare to be over. Our family will never be the same again. You took the brightest and very important piece of our family away from us.
Ashley's best friend, Samantha Hunt, called Jared a coward and said that Ashley deserved better than this. She said,
I'll miss the phone calls that lasted hours. I'll miss her laugh and her hugs, her smile. I'll miss her kindness and her heart. I'll miss her bubbly personality and the way she could make me laugh so hard that my stomach would hurt. I'll miss her love. I'll miss her making me feel special. I'll never forgive you for what you've done, for taking her away from me. As I stand here today, I see that there is nothing good about you. You're evil. You're a monster. You're a coward. Ashley deserved better than this, and you know that. She was so full of love and life, full of so much potential. She would have continued to thrive in life, but you took it away from her.
Once everyone had finished their statements, the sentencing finally came, and in October of 2019, Jared Chance was sentenced to serve 100 to 200 years for the second-degree murder charge, 10 to 100 years for each of the 3 counts of tampering with evidence, 10 to 100 years for dismembering a corpse, and 6 to 100 years for concealing the death of an individual.
You, sir, in my mind, are a very evil individual. You are clearly a monster without any conscience whatsoever, and you are someone who is a danger to society and should never be allowed free. Accordingly, it is the sentence of this court with regards to the second-degree murder that you be committed to the Michigan Department of Corrections to serve a minimum of 100 years to a maximum of 200 years. I am purposely doing this so that you will not be eligible for parole until you are at least 130 years old.
Thank you.
Jared Chance would have to serve a minimum of 100 years before being eligible for parole, meaning that he will never be released from prison.
What did you think about the judge's sentencing, 100 to 200 years?
I think it's excellent. I'm happy that he won't see the light of day. He won't be out. He won't be free. He can't do this to anybody else's child, because this could have been anybody's child. Ashley could have been anyone's child.
Judge Mark Trusock explained his reasons for going beyond the recommended range of 22.5 to 75 years provided by the sentencing guidelines. He called the murder and dismemberment of Ashley Young, without question, the worst murder case he had ever presided over. He said, "What you did and what I saw in photographs was reprehensible and heinous. This goes beyond comprehension." He said that Jared lacked any remorse or compassion, and that the brutality of the crime, the lack of motive for the completely senseless killing, and the fact that he lied to Ashley's mother repeatedly to give her hope that her daughter was still alive, were factors that the sentencing guidelines didn't take into account. The judge said, "You, sir, are in my mind a very evil individual. You are clearly a monster, without any conscience whatsoever, and you are someone who is a danger to society and should never be allowed free."
You are clearly a monster without any conscience whatsoever, that you be committed to the Michigan Department of Corrections to serve a minimum of 100 years to a maximum of 200 years. The sentence is concluded. Take him to prison, please.
In 2021, Jared Chance appealed his sentence, but this appeal was thankfully denied. In his appeal, Jared said jurors should have been allowed to consider the lesser offence of involuntary manslaughter. He also added that he thought the judge's sentence was too harsh. In the end, however, the 3-judge panel rejected all of Jared's arguments, and they upheld the conviction and sentence.
So what do you do now? I mean, the trial's over, he's been sentenced.
His trial is over, the parents is not. The parents is next. I can't grieve until the parents are in jail, until they're all put away for the rest of their lives.
And you'll be attending that?
I will be at every single one. Everyone will. Those of us that can attend, we will.
Next, Barbara Chance and James Chance, Jared's parents, stood trial for the part in the case, and they both pleaded not guilty. The prosecution and Ashley's parents said that Barbara Chance and James Chance bore responsibility for helping dispose of body parts when they stopped at a garage container at an apartment complex on their way home.
By putting Jared and that evidence back at Franklin and then leaving, wiping his hands clean, all it's not my job, he gave Jared the perfect opportunity to continue dismembering Ashley and getting rid of the evidence. What the defendant did allows his son to continue the crime of mutilation. And he knew that she was dead. He knew that she was mutilated. He did nothing about it. And he did an act to allow his son to continue that horrific act.
Conrad Chance, Jared's brother, testified, saying he and his parents picked up Jared from his home in Grand Rapids and brought them back to his home. He further stated that his brother had a cardboard box with a black bag in it, along with a mop and some other items. Investigators believed the black bag contained some of Ashley's remains.
What did you
A cardboard box with a black bag in it.
That was the box that police say contained the limbs of Ashley Young. In court for the first time today, we heard that Jared Chance took evidence out of the car when they arrived at the home on December 2nd in Holland and disposed of them.
He took some like something and then he put it in the fire pit. I don't believe my dad helped move anything.
Do you remember if he did?
I'm pretty sure he didn't.
Conrad said his parents stayed in the car while they moved things to and from the Honda in Grand Rapids and Holland. But in an interview with police in December of 2018, James Chance told a detective that he helped carry the box. He said the family was crying as they drove back to Grand Rapids.
During trial, they said that James Chance, as a former investigator and retired police officer, used his knowledge and specialized skills to help his son get away with this.
He knew that there was evidentiary value in the things that they took out of Jared's home and that they put back into Jared's home. Why a cop of 24 years doesn't look into boxes after this, he knows that this lady is dead and cut up. Well, I find that hard to believe, but that's his claim. He knew that there was evidentiary value in those items because he was frightful of it. Nobody called in a silent observer tip. You don't want to call, you don't want to turn your son in person, okay, I can buy that, but you can at least call a silent observer and let the police know. But that doesn't happen.
They added that James was calculated and had lied when he spoke to investigators.
What I do know the court heard is that he was in GRPD for less than 2 minutes and that he wasn't going to let his son talk without an attorney. And guess what? The cop at 24 years, that's his absolute calculated effort by him. I'm going to bring him in. I know cops can't talk to you once you lawyer up, but I can say, oh yeah, no, I brought him in. And when it doesn't go his way, he's out of there in less than 2 minutes. And what does he do? He helps his son by returning Ashley Young's body parts, returning Jared to his crime. Go ahead. I'm going to wipe my hands clean of you now, but I have assisted you. I put you back to where all the body parts have been chopped up. You can go back to work. I'm not going to turn you in, even though I know she's dead and I know she's dismembered.
The defense, on the other hand, said that her client was overwhelmed that his son could be behind such a horrific crime. They said that James took his son to Grand Rapids Police Headquarters to try and do the right thing, but a lieutenant sent them away after James asked for an attorney.
What did Mr. Chance do that shows that he helped his son avoid discovery, arrest, trial, or punishment? He brought his son to the police department. He walked him into the Grand Rapids Police Department. Now, maybe that interaction, although we heard no testimony about what happened, maybe that interaction didn't go the way the police wished it had, looking back. But how, doesn't that negate any intent of avoidance of punishment? I'm going to walk my son, who I believe has committed something, some crime, I'm going to walk him into the police department and ask the police to take care of it? How is that indicative of a person who's trying to help somebody avoid arrest, trial, punishment? It's not. Those are not the actions of somebody who's trying to help their son avoid anything.
Apparently, James Chance told the lieutenant he was making the biggest mistake of his life. Joyce, the defense attorney, said he told police his son did something unspeakable twice and how he's being called a liar. He is begging them to do something. That is desperation. She concluded by saying that James Chance was not a strategic monster. Ashley's mother, however, Kristine Young, said that James Chance, as a former police officer, should have known what was going on and called the police.
You did everything to stop my daughter, the rest of her, from coming home. Not all of her came back from your home. A bucket with blood in it and a mop that had blood and tissue on it, and you smelled nothing. I pray every night that you are tormented by everything that you and your wife and Conrad and Jared have done.
You know what he did. You knew about it. And you did nothing. And I believe that with every fiber of my being. You know, I want my daughter home, Barbara, as a mother. As a mother. Your son is still breathing, and my daughter is not. You need to talk. And the same with James.
What do you want them to do now?
I want them to go to the police. I want them to tell them everything. I want them to speak. Speak for my daughter that doesn't have a voice anymore.
As the trial and sentencing happened in 2020 during COVID, it was held via video conference, and James Chance responded.
I grieve deeply for Ashley and her parents and everyone concerned.
Barbara Chance said,
I'm just so sorry everything happened, and I wish if I could change it, I would. I would do anything to do what's been done. Very sorry.
In the end, both Barbara and James were sentenced on the 5th of June 2020 for being accessories after the fact by helping Jared dispose of body parts. The judge sentenced James Chance, who had recently suffered a stroke, to 30 days in Kent County Jail, and Barbara Chance was sentenced to 45 days in jail. Both were also placed on probation and electronic tether.
Ashley's family says today's sentences did not give them justice.
Today, Judge Denfield failed Ashley.
In People versus James Chance case, the judge decided on less than a year behind bars for both James, who's a former police officer, and his wife, Barbara Chance.
If you help or you know of something that happened, a crime, and you don't do anything about it, you're just as guilty as Jared. Just as guilty as the person who committed it. Mm-hmm. But that wasn't served today. When they're done with their short time in jail, they get to go see their son. This is all we have, and it's not all of her.
In the end, they ended up serving their sentences one after another, as they had to take care of their other son, and in total, James served 14 days, and Barbara only served 29. To this day, Jared Chance has never stated a motive for killing and dismembering Ashley Young. He has also never told her family where the remaining parts of Ashley are.
What happened to Ashley Young?
I can't even talk about it.
You can't talk about it because you're so emotional, or?
I just can't, well, that too, but yeah, I don't know.
Her daughter is gone. Can you just give her some kind of peace and just tell her where she is?
I'd love to give her some kind of peace, I really would, but I don't know what to do here. This situation is, I don't know what to do, so
What
I don't know what to say or do.
What happened? You were friends with Ashley? She seemed like a lovely girl, a bright girl.
She was, yeah. I don't know.
What went wrong? Were there drugs involved? Well, something went wrong because her body was found in pieces. So unless you planned to chop her up, then something went wrong.
Oh, man.
You can't bring
I don't know what to do.
You can't bring Ashley back, but you can give her mother some peace. She wants to lay her daughter to rest. And
I want to give her that too, but
well, do it. What did you tell your parents about this? Your dad said he turned you into the police. Did he turn you into police?
I can't do this. I'm sorry, I can't do this. I'm sorry, Ashley, Mom. I apologize, I can't do this right now.
Do you have anything else to say to Ashley's mom?
Ashley's family, however, has not stopped searching for her, and they are committed to bringing their daughter home. Since the tragic murder, Over the past few years, they have been collecting money in order to offer a reward for any information. Ashley's stepmother said, "We're trying to raise money so that if anyone comes through with real information that we can use, we can have an amount of money we can give them. We still have hope that someone is going to tell us where the rest of her is." On the anniversary of her death, Kristine Young and Dana Nelson also organised a memorial event, and they gathered at the Tri-Cities Family YMCA and released colourful balloons in Ashley's memory.
So for her to still be missing, parts of her to still be missing a year later, it's just not right.
That's not why dozens of her loved ones gathered Friday night.
There's been too much about him.
This night was meant to remember Young beyond what happened to her.
This would mean a lot to her.
Outside Ashley Young's mother's home, candlelight lit the teary-eyed faces of those clinging to the good memories of her.
Still waiting for her to come through the back door and say hi and did you miss me?
Their fight is not over, but their ability to come together in Young's name, that is what keeps them going.
I wanted a lot of people here, friends and family, to show her mom how much support there is out in the community, and so that she will know that Ashley will never be forgotten.
Ashley's 7-year-old niece dressed up as a dragonfly for Halloween in memory of her aunt, because they had told her that every time she saw a dragonfly, it was her Aunt Ashley coming to visit her. I can't even begin to imagine the pain and suffering that Ashley's friends and family have gone through and are still going through. All they want are answers and to be able to bring the rest of their daughter home and to lay Ashley to rest.
That's all I want, is I want to know where she is. Bring her home. I want to know where she is. And if somebody has information, call Silent Observer. If you saw anything, if you know him, if you know where he frequents, call Silent Observer. We need to bring Ashley home. I need to have the rest of my daughter, because this is all I have.
Hearing her family's powerful impact statements during Jared's sentencing was completely heartbreaking, and I really hope one day they get some closure and are able to find the rest of her. Jared Chance is an evil man, and I think the judge's sentencing was spot on. He obviously shows no remorse or compassion for what he did, and that this killing was completely senseless. There was no motive. This was a pure, cold-blooded murder, and I hope it does bring Ashley's family a little bit of peace, knowing that her murderer will never, ever see the light of day. As always, my heart goes out to her family and friends, and rest in peace, Ashley Young.
My daughter was smart. She was beautiful. She was kind to a fault. Thinking she could save people. Everybody has good, Mom. Everybody has good. No. Some people don't. Some people don't have good.
Do you think that's what happened here?
I know without a doubt. That is exactly what happened.